Hey, folks. How are we feeling in the Bitcoin superpower of the world? Huh? If the Bitcoin superpower has a capital city, it's not DC, it's Austin, Texas, obviously. So, welcome to Austin. So I'm Chris from OpenAgents. Excited to give the second annual talk here. Did a V1 talk a year ago, and we're here today launching the new version of our flagship app. This will be accessible to all of you in 6 hours, 40 minutes, 30 seconds. Or come up to me afterwards. I'll give you early access. But I want to walk you through what this is, why you should care. Let's do an introductory quote from our friend Michael Saylor here. This was from his talk a few days ago to the DC Bitcoin Policy Institute. 3 minutes in, he says, the AIs are coming. The AIs don't get bank accounts. They don't get credit cards. The AIs, the artificial economy, will be built on digital capital, digital property. It will be $100 trillion economy. It will be built on Bitcoin. We agree with that. How do we get there? The cool thing about building on open protocols is that we're all kind of pushing in the same direction. Everything that Jim says, I agree with fully, and I'm excited that we're going to be able to, because we're both building on Nostr, we're going to be able to contribute to his ecosystem and vice versa. So none of this is either or. It's all kind of wit-wit. It's a whole bunch of builders now at that kind of intersection between AI and Bitcoin, where, a year ago where I had thought, okay, I need to hire an engineer who's going to focus on L402. Until I go through Wolf and I meet Jordy from FUSATS, who's building L402 architecture. If you used to work at Lightning Labs, he's doing that. Now that's one less person I need to hire because we have a partnership with other people. We're filling in other pieces of the puzzle. The piece of the puzzle that we want to fill in is the name brand, OpenAgents.com, the place where you go to, the drop-in replacement for OpenAI. My talk is too short to go into my litany of complaints with OpenAI, but let's just say we call them closed AI. So I want you to be able to go to OpenAgents.com and use it in all the same way that you might expect to do with OpenAI. So here's a chat. Now, because we're focused on agents, we're calling this an agentic chat UI. At the bottom here, you're going to have a couple different agents to choose from. And if I'm in my pro mode, you've got your assistant, you've got your coder, which is the main thing I'm going to show you right now, and then coming soon, researcher. The idea is that we want to have best-in-class agents that are not the product just of what our one single company produced, but which are the collective representation of everyone in the ecosystem building, hey, I've got the best memory retrieval algorithm. I've got the best payments infrastructure, whatever that is. Building these agents out of composable parts, made easy because we're all building on interoperable open protocols, they become hot swappable. What is the incentive for someone to contribute a better module? They're going to get paid. Lightning, rev share, all throughout this. I just want to give you a couple little demos here. One thing that I identified talking to some users was there's no real good way to just easily chat with a code base. So the first thing you see when you log in as a guest, you're going to have a prompt here. Analyze any issue from repo Bitcoin/Bitcoin. I can't even do that in ChatGPT. Let's click that, see what happens. And pray to the demo about something cool happens here. So here we have a tool. Look, that's too fast. Hey, slow down. Okay, here we have a tool, list open issues. Now, Bitcoin is an open repo, so I don't need any special permissions. It's at 30 open issues. And it says, I'm going to analyze issue 32 and 43, track EPR for speeding up initial block download. Now, this is also grabbing the content of each issue. And so one of the issues happened to be detailed enough that it felt confident if you look further, it's just going to come up with an analysis. Now, other people will have to, determine how good this is. And this is using the open source model Quen from a Chinese lab, which happens to be quite good. It's open source and is hosted by Grok, G-R-O-Q. So the data stays here in the US, but it's pretty good. Now, let's say I want to go one step further. In this conversation, I asked, hey, let's just kind of talk with the Bitcoin core repo. Let's take a look at it. Teach me about it. Here's the main Bitcoin core repo, source, test, Docker, tree, blah, blah, blah. Let me check a readme. Here's the readme. Okay, let's see. Maybe there's a specific issue that I want to look at. Let me do this with both hands. Look at open issues and summarize in one line what you think the 5 most critical ones are, and 2-line summaries of each. This is using Claude 3.5 Sonnet. We've got 3.7 Sonnet, some of these other models. 3.7 Sonnet's like pretty good, but sometimes can like go off the rails a little bit. 3.5 Sonnet seems to be the best. One other point there is like with the model selection, if you're using OpenAI, you're only using their models. Their whole like agent SDK that they launched a couple days ago, it only works with OpenAI's models. What if I want to use Claude? Most coders out there are still using Claude, so being model agnostic actually really matters. After analyzing the open issues, here's where I consider the 5 most critical ones. Let's see if we can do an analysis of some of these. We already did the assume UTXO. I think that was the first one we did. Let's just go with the number 1 here. Let's figure out issue, the first one there. You can have horrible typos too. Let's see. Find some relevant files. Don't use grep for now. Just use the ufile view folder. So for most of the tools that are here, I'm logged into my pro account, so I've got both my read and write access to tools. If I am in sort of guest mode, we give you the sort of read-only GitHub tools for free. And then for coding, for the write access ones, you upgrade. Let's take a look at what it does. Most of the tools are from GitHub. This lets you just traverse code bases. We have another tool called grep, which will actually clone down the repo on a service worker that we have. It takes a little bit to do that with the Bitcoin core repos because it's so big. But the kinds of traversing that you might do of a code base at your command line, we have access to all of that same thing too. And some of the tools that we're using are tools that the ones like Cursor, Claude Code, and stuff like that use the exact same thing. So we're just taking the best practices that are out there, putting this into this interface that's more accessible on the web. Let's see. Okay, so let me just say briefly that these tools down here enable me to, and have enabled me for the last 3 or 4 months, to spend about 80% of my development time in here. There has been a big shift, people shifting away from writing their own code to tools where they are having the agent do more and more of the heavy lifting for them. Some of the companies that are doing this, like Cursor, everyone's using Cursor, are in the like $2.5 billion valuation raise. They're in talks to raise at a $10 billion valuation. The 2 big labs at the top are starting to heavily focus on coding agents. OpenAI is about to raise a $300 billion valuation. What else do you notice about this? What's this tiny one down at the bottom? OpenAgents, mad. If this is going to be, what did he say? What did he say? $100 trillion economy, right? And then what's this one at the bottom? Whoa, that seems like a really good deal. So I'm happy to announce, well, first of all, that we've been backed by some of the best early investors in the Bitcoin space. We were in the first cohort of Wolf. HiveMind VC led our pre-seed, and we're excited to open this up to the pleb. We'll call it our pleb round in the next week or two. Thank you, Armand. Happy to be working with Timestamp. We're going to be opening this up to anyone who wants to contribute, invest as little as $100. We're going to run this for 6 or so months, maybe less. We'll be able to get a tidy piece of OpenAgents via this RegCF platform, and we'll throw some perks at you, like give you some access to OpenAgents and such to make it sweet for you. So encourage everyone in either 6 hours or earlier than that. If you come, I'll set you up earlier than that. If you have any desire to have your personal workflow relating to coding, I would love to have you like in sort of early access mode, beta testing features on you. If you have any desire for more custom agents or custom workflows, we're just very much in the market for types of things that people are finding value in. The kind of bigger picture, if we zoom out here, is we think that at the intersection of Bitcoin and AI, there should be an equivalent of Bell Labs, a combination of the R&D lab and a product shop that can both push the frontier and commercialize it. That's what we're building with OpenAgents, and just hope to have all of you be happy users of ours soon. Thank you so much.
you.